Well, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways, where Paul and I are going to chat to you about everything that's happened over the week. And we've got some very interesting stuff, starting with Super Rugby. Quite interesting to watch what happened in the Super Rugby this weekend.
Yeah, I'm still getting my head around the format, and these three South African teams are in that group and play the Australian wing, and these three teams play the New Zealand wing, and the new truck and trailer rules got me, you know. And also, of course, there's the point system. You have to beat another team by 3 tries to get a point.
Well, if you beat them by 3 tries, you get a point. If you score 4 tries, you get another bonus point. So you get 2 bonus points. But the big thing about this new Super Rugby format, the way I saw it, is that it's going to put us at a serious disadvantage. I think where the players have got to be behind the last feet of a ruck, maul, scrum, anywhere, that's a big thing, because it gives the attacking side an extra metre or 2, which is what's going to make rugby fun.
Why don't they, James, say, listen, these rolling mauls, they're blowing teams up who are going forward and saying you've broken the rules, beast and whatever you. Why don't they change the rules and say, listen, stop that guy, stop that maul, any way you like, fall in front of them, do what you like. But no, collapsing the scrum. Well, they should be allowed to.
They're pulling down the mauls now, which they were never allowed to do. See, they're pulling down the mauls. I just think that
it's confusing, James.
Yeah, it is confusing, especially for you and I.
Yeah, but it must be confusing if you're an Arsenal supporter, as you are.
No, as I was. Okay. Sorry. As I was. At exactly 6 o'clock yesterday evening, I ceased to be a football supporter. I'll watch the highlights from now, so you won't be able to ask me anything. I won't know anything. I've never seen a more insipid, pathetic display in my life by a team that has got some good players.
Yeah.
But you just cannot believe they run around with the ball between the halfway line and the sort of 18-yard box, passing it like geniuses, one-touch passing, brilliant to watch.
No goals.
And unfortunately don't score goals.
Yeah, they conceded, and the beloved Spurs, and there's a good few racing people who support Spurs, they're all going to be cock-a-hoop. But Leicester keep going, James.
I think Leicester, it's between Spurs and Leicester.
Oh no, it's bigger than that. You know, Man City and your team.
Between Spurs and Leicester. You Spurs boys have never ever had any confidence, but I can tell you this might be your year.
Well, James, we're going to go back a few months when I said on the air we win the league. I don't want to chirp now, which I just have. No, sure. Because we'll probably run 4th. Yeah. But we're going well.
You run 4th, you run better than Manchester United. That's all I can tell you.
They're only 3 points off Premier League. Off Champions League spot, Man United. You know that. Yeah. But there's a game in hand for Man City.
Yeah, that's the end of them. Don't you worry about them. But they beat us fair and square yesterday. They found a striker, some 18-year-old they pulled in there. That's a proper striker. Yeah. We had a striker like that. 2 goals
Thursday, 2 goals
He runs
Sunday.
at them, you know. He runs into spaces. Yeah, Rashford.
Rashford and Simpson.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it for the sporting week. Well, we got cricket this week. We're going to be playing against Australia in a T20. That should be fun on Friday.
Yeah, that'll be fireworks.
Much more fun than watching football. That's the end of my football watching career, and I'm not going to go into 3 to follow.
His dad, distorted humor, he's probably one of his best sons at stud.
I'll have another, wins the derby. I'll have another in the Preakness.
Lilacs and Lace, 48-1 upset.
He's just a big, strong, leggy horse.
Right, well, let's go and have a look at what we got in our 3 to follow. We go to Turfentine, 23rd. It's not the Turfentine, it's the Vaal on the turf track, my apologies. 23rd of February, 2016, Iftikhar. Imported filly, yeah, Iftikhar. Imported filly, I've got it, I've got Mace Roberts later on. I'm so nervous, it's not impossible.
Mace?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mace is a towering figure of a person to interview, you know. To have to interview Mace, okay, is going to be very difficult. We've got a 2-part series. We'll have this part this week, and maybe the week after we'll have the second part.
Yeah.
But 2-part series with Mace Roberts. Let's go and look at Ectifar down the Val, the inside of the track in Sheikh Hamdan's colours.
Yeah, it comes out well. Arthur Marcus has picked up the ride on this horse here, and you can see it down the inside. And once it gets under pressure, James, it lugs its head sideways. Even at the finish, when it runs on for second, it gets its head sideways. You can see it on the left of your screen. Arthur's got into the race. The eventual winner is right back, at the back. Last in Brown and Fiona Riley's colours at the back for Sean Terry. A horse called Kalua, who's last. But here I was watching. I thought this favourite of Mark de Cox would win here. But James, you start seeing the head go sideways here.
She looks under pressure. She just looks under pressure the whole way. Ryan Riley's filly is now about 6th on the outside, starting to move up smartly, and she might be a very nice filly. She won an extremely good race. But Ectifar just looks like, she only gets into the race late. She might need a pair of blinkers, this filly, and she might need a bit more ground. But she's obviously got some ability, and you'd think you'd be able to follow her with confidence, because here she runs on really, really well.
Yeah, even there you can see her head sideways, but well done to Brian Fiona Riley. There was Sean Terry called Kalua. That's one, but the runner-up, when it learns to race, will be a different kettle of fish.
Right, we're going to go and have a look at the next one, which is Turfentine, and they had the big race meeting on Turfentine, and so they step out a few decent ones. And the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th all look like they're pretty decent, but I really like the run of the 5th filly, the High Chaparral filly, Santiburi. Let's go and have a look at her at the start. This was Turfentine over the 1,000 metre, much too short for her.
Yeah, this is the first race on the card, and Santiburi slightly slow out. You'll see it 4 off the left at the moment, and the black silks, or 3 off the left. You'll see, I think it's 4 off the left. And the winner here is an interesting horse called Arisa. It's a Sylvan out of an Al Mufti mare. And Chris Gerber told me before that he thinks he'll win this race and the last race, and he's on the button. This horse, a lot of speed for the pedigree. I spoke to Alec Led about the winner. I said, pedigree to go further? He said, no, 7 furlong top, a very fast horse. But the horse we found, James, the 7th, 8th, been scrubbed along a little bit.
Yeah, it's in the black, looks like black colours. It's about 7th or 8th now. Being pushed along vigorously. Now the jockey goes for the shillelagh and gives it a couple of smacks just to warm it up. And even here, she's starting to run on there. He changes the stick into the right hand. She's on the left-hand side of your screen now. And she doesn't look like she's going to run a place here. And she really runs on very, very well here at the death under. Hands right, the penny's starting to drop. And we think that it will definitely improve quite a lot, this filly.
Yeah.
So she definitely won for the notebook, and certainly over a bit of ground by High Chaparral. They stay, there's no doubt about that. Let's go and have a look at, it was a good day just talking about.
Fantastic, James. I was up there and I was really impressed. The crowds came out and there were queues for food. And
how was the prawns?
I didn't go down to the prawn section. But
that's the attraction.
Absolutely. But I did have a walk around. Funny enough, Andy O'Connor took me around. He went down, and the Betting World have got their own setup as well, which is very good. And we saw the V. Moodleys and Nico Kritsiotis, Neil Pretorius, all of them. Even Striker was there. Striker was an ambassador for the day with his arm in a sling. Yeah. It's progressing well. So it was a very good day.
Excellent. Well, let's go and have a look at the next one that we're going to follow as a race at Scottsville. It was on Sunday. Diamond Coast. This horse stepped out first time. It's by Cape Cross, this filly. Interesting story, this. I think Mary and Jessica bought it and in Ireland. Beautifully bred filly. And they gave the assistants a share each, all the juniors.
Oh, lovely.
There's Natey Jr., Stephen Gell Jr.
Herman Brown Jr.?
And no, Herman Brown Jr. is not the assistant. He used to be the assistant, but he's not assisting anyone anymore. Yeah. He's assisting himself. But Natey Jr., Stephen Gell Jr., and that other junior, Matthew de Kock, they are the boys that are involved in this filly, and I think they're going to have some fun here. So let's go and pick it up at the start.
Yeah, its name's Diamond Coast. It's first run of its life, 1,400 metres. As you can see, drawn out deep. But it's urged to get into the race by Warren Kennedy. And runs a very good race for a debut. You know, beaten by one of Michael Roberts' horses. And he's our guest later on. Miller's Smile, who gets beautifully placed on the fence. in the pink cap it is, but right up there from that deep draw and pulling a little bit is a horse we found called Diamond Coast.
Yeah, she's ended up getting up second on the outside, but she's very green in the straight. And Mace's horse has had a few runs under his belt, and I think it was very well ridden by the apprentice. And you'll see this filly, Diamond Coast, ended up running third. Alice's filly ran second. Her name was Cause Celebre. She ran a very good race first time out and then disappointed. She's sitting about fifth under a bit of pressure. She'll win next time too, I would have thought. But this filly, Diamond Coast, now almost in front, and maybe got to the front too early because she didn't really know what it was all about. You can see here she's sort of changed legs, shifted about, under a bit of pressure, but really I think she'll come on a lot from this run, and she might be a very nice filly.
Yeah, a beautifully bred filly, a lovely Irish filly, and she doesn't know what's going on here. And the two Mace's horses down the middle, and as you say, Alistair's in the white cap coming between them. It's a tight finish for second, but a great debut by Diamond Coast.
Yeah, it really looks like a nice staying filly. She's a beautiful filly in the parade ring, so let's wish him the best with that one, and hope that that goes on and wins him some races. I think that we've got enough time to go to the blast from the past. We are featuring our guest today, Michael Roberts, the only July he ever won, and this is it. So let's go and have a look at that great day for him in South Africa.
Open, soft falling rain, pulling clear, soft falling rains won the SA Nursery by 3.
Racing in the 2000 Guineas. Gates fly and they're racing in the Godolphin Mile.
They're off and racing.
Weight didn't matter. Class tells, soft falling rain, much too good. Soft falling rain, an impressive Guineas winner. Soft falling rain is drawing clear.
He's made it 7 out of 7 by winning here today.
But it's soft falling rain who is powering away. We'll see out the mile in style. A high-class performer wins the Nay of Joel Stakes.
Million Rand 1997, Rothmans July, Shah Star goes in. They're closing the gate on Shah Star. We're going to have a start any second. There's the roar of the crowd. They're dispatched in the Rothmans July, 2,200 meters. And in search of the leaders, counteraction. Farrelmont is right there. North by Northwest along the rail has a good position. Counteraction's well positioned. Flying Promise and Lambent Light on the outside. And the grey Count Pavli's also well placed. Golden Ord in the thick of things, and Super Quality's pulling very hard. Then Dancing in the Rain on the outside. Bishop of Bombay, Grecian Gale. Then 2 o'clock Jump and Last Warning. National Emblem racing about 5th to last and giving them about 10 lengths start. Harlem Park, Sleek Machine, Royal Land and Grecian Gale. And at the back of the field is Imperious Sioux. They spread out about 14 lengths. And the leader is Flying Promise out in front. The grey Count Pavli second. Farrelmont pulling hard at the rail third. Counteractions there, and Shah Star has a perfect position in fifth. North by Northwest, 6 lengths off them with Golden Ord, Lambent Light, Super Quality and Bishop of Bombay. Imperious Sioux's now going wide out with Harlem Park. They're trying to pass the stragglers, and then Sleek Machine. And it's Flying Promise still in front by a length from the grey Count Pavli. Farrelmont at the rails just waiting, so is Shah Star. Counteraction 5 lengths off them, then Golden Ord. Super Quality just 6 lengths off the leader, and then Bishop of Bombay. Lambent Light mid-division, 8 lengths to go. On the inside of that one, Last Warning, National Emblem only 9 lengths to make up. It's the big showdown as they come for home in the Rothmans, and it's Flying Promise. Harlem Park's coming wide out. Shah Star's making a break. Count Pavli and Farrelmont's now looking for a rails run. They turn for home. Flying Promise. Farrelmont moving in down the inside. Shah Star the outside, and Harlem Park. It's now Farrelmont is at the front. Shah Star, Flying Promise all trying to run on. North by Northwest. It's Farrelmont and Shah Star past the 100-meter marker. Shah Star and Farrelmont, they lock together, and yes, Super Quality flying. Super Quality, Golden Ord. Super Quality and Mace Roberts won the Rothmans. Golden Ord, Shah Star.
Never seen this before from Mace. This is wonderful.
I'm lost for words. The greatest feeling of my life, I promise you that.
Well, that was some race, and we'll be talking to Mace about his exploits all over the world later on, so don't miss that. But we're going to move on, and we've got the plum of the week.
Deeper out we got St. Donan. Ovar's got a run between runners. Deeper out we got Western Movie as they head towards the final 300. Galaxy King on the inside. Mystical Twilight. Ovar's now being popped the question. He's got a length or so to make up as Mystical Twilight takes the lead. Now Ovar comes home full of running. Northern Corner taken off on the inside, but Ovar kicked away at the right time. Ovar from Northern Corner. Mystical Twilight, then came St. Donan and East in front.
Well, this horse has got tons of ability. He looked like the right one. He came back from a rest, ran a good race to run second. Could have got 5-2 on Interbet on your Interbetting account, and that was a hell of a price. That would have set you up for the weekend. He looked like a nice winner, and Elder de Meyer really riding well at the moment.
Riding very well, and looked the right horse, I'd say, was the plum. And what was the SP? 18-10?
Yeah, they ended up shortening to 18-10. You could have got 5-2 as much as you liked on Interbet. So good win for them. He's a Varb. Trained by Andre Nell, he's doing very well, and nice to see, as I say, the team doing so well. Let's go and have a look at current affairs. We've got some big racing from Joburg.
Yes. If you love soccer and you play the tote, you won't believe what Interbet has to offer you, or the excitement of tote betting on your computer or your cell phone. It's simple. Choose your teams and your bets, work out what your combinations will cost, see how big the pool is, and place your bets. You can even track your bet live as it happens and get updates on your progress. It's all the fun of the tote on your phone. So what are you waiting for? Sign up now at www.interbet.co.za and you could be a winner.
Right, welcome to another edition of Current Affairs. We had great racing up in the Haarveld and Turfentine. A lot of fun up there, and we're going to show you the races, the stakes races from that day. And we're going to go straight into the action to the Hawaii Stakes, a race over the years has shown us some really top horses. This year was a blanket finish, and let's go and have a look at the latter stages of the race.
Meters left to go. Talk to the Stars leads them, and again they're not breaking too many records. Winter Star gained ground and worked up to race in second. Laser Stars third. Unparalleled's in the silver. Mr. Matchett at his outside. Then comes Captain Aldo. Trip to Heaven. Move Feed. Then comes White Line Fever. And finally Ice Machine. He's still got everything to get past. They have 400 meters left to go. Talk to the Stars in front. Laser Star. Captain Aldo. Move Feed. Mr. Matchett. Over towards the far side is Trip to Heaven. Then Talk to the Stars, but the leader is Laser Star, and she's got a 2-length advantage. Captain Aldo, Unparalleled, Move Feed, they're trying to close in, and Ice Machine is flying. Ice Machine, Captain Aldo, Laser Star, here it comes, close. Laser Star or Captain Aldo can't split them. Ice Machine was third.
Well, a very close finish, and it's gone to Captain Aldo, and well done to St. John Gray. Bernard Fader, a very good ride. When I watched it at the course, I thought the runner-up had won it, and Ice Machine eating up the turf.
Yeah, it was a funny type of race, but you've got to take your hats off to St. John. He's done extremely well with this horse. And also Paul Unstad, who bred it. He's the son of Captain Al. And, you know, the Freemans, they know how to breed decent horses, and it was very nice to see this horse.
Captain Al just keeps throwing
He's
up
just
big
a
horses,
fantastic stallion. Amazing, amazing horse. We're going to go and have a look at the next one, which was the Acacia Handicap Grade 3. And let's go and pick them up at the 600.
And that's third. Fortitude is racing exposed on the outside. Then comes Seventh Heart, Wendish, Shepherd 1, Noir and Alarm. They've all got about 4 lengths to make up. Further back to Celtic Legend. AP's Lily makes her run towards the outside. Off the mark, the Centenary are next. Cassie O'Malley with a 1-length lead over Quinta, who tries to shut the deficit. Then comes Sensible Lover. Noir's beginning to catch the eye, the black jacket and red cap. Seventh Heart's in the clear, and she's got 2 to make up. It's Cassie O'Malley in the lead over Quinta, who's in second. Noir, Sensible Lover, they alive as well. Now Sensible Lover starts to assert. Noir's on the outside, and Off the Mark is running a huge race. Off the Mark from nowhere is going to win it. Second to Sensible Lover. Third is close, Noir or Cassie O'Malley. They're involved.
Well, Off the Mark, and there we go. Sean Terry, Chris Van Niekerk, wonderful team. JP pick up the pickup king. JP van der Merwe rode it, and James Jetmasters get better and better.
Yeah, and this is an Aventura bred Jetmaster.
Yeah,
she costs 800 grand at sales, and Aventura know how to breed a horse as well.
Pippa's done a marvellous job over the years. Wonderful breeder.
It's a showcase for South African breds when you look at the horses that win these big races this week, and very nice to see this one win. It's out of one of their top families, Sports Chestnut.
Yeah.
And Sean Terry, the just roller coaster keeps going. Every single week he's got it absolutely taped. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's got good people around him, and he's got a great satellite yard down here with Dijon Steyn. Very good. The next one was the big one, was the Wilgerbos Drift Gauteng Fillies Guineas, where everyone thought Negramara was going to actually end up winning the first leg and on her way to winning the Triple Crown. Wasn't to be. Sean Terry again. Let's go and pick him up.
About to come off the false rail, 700 meters left to go. Heaps of Fun is the leader. Second place, Negra Amaro. She goes towards the far side. Then comes Kwanzaa. Frosty Friday, Polyphonic. They race towards the middle outside. Princess Veronia is next. Then comes Crystal Glamour. Negra Amaro just about level with Heaps of Fun. They get to the final 500 meters. Frosty Friday and Polyphonic are next. Heaps of Fun is fighting. She's looking forward to the scrap. Negra Amaro's the grey. Then comes Frosty Friday up towards the far side. Bella Sonata's next best, but Heaps of Fun is sticking to her task. Heaps of Fun is the leader. Negra Amaro's in second. Then Frosty Friday. Heaps of Fun is in front, and Heaps of Fun's going to see them off. Heaps of Fun has beaten Negra Amaro. Then came Frosty Friday. She's a Dragon was fourth, and they were followed home.
Yeah, here we go. And Sean Terry, as we say, but this is a good plug for Visionaire, James.
Yeah, and a good plug
Mickey
for
Goss will be very happy.
And a good plug for new owners.
Yes.
Chaka Malloy, okay, he's
the Malloy.
Yeah, he owns this horse, and it's fantastic to see. He's put a bit of money in. He bought 2 big horses last week at the Summerhill Ready to Run sale, and fantastic to see he ends up winning a Group 2 with this filly. She started her career here on the Poly track, so it just shows you, and she ended up blowing Negramaro's colours. So that was a very, very good win. Kamala and Terry.
Yeah, absolutely. A big plug. As I say, Mickey will be chuffed. Visionaire winning the big race. Favourite ran a good race in second. But let's move on to the Colts version. And this is the Gauteng Guineas Grade 2. And here, a great success for Michael Lazzie.
Fourth position is Celtic Captain. Then comes Muwari at that one's inside. Abba Sherry's chasing the bit. That's in the orange sleeves and cap, and that's got about 4 lengths to make up. Further back then to Coral Fever. Rocket Balls and beyond those, and then came Malak Al Maluk. They get to the last 500 meters. Suyuf is in front. Second place is New Predator. Here comes Abba Sherry. The stick is out, but he's right alongside Suyuf. Then comes Malak Al Maluk. They followed by Celtic Captain. Abba Sherry's gone for home early. Malak Al Maluk is running a big race. Romany Prince is next best. Then comes Celtic Captain and Brazuca with Champagne Haze on the outside, but it's Abba Sherry the leader. Champagne Haze trying to close, but Abba Sherry reigns supreme in the Gauteng Guineas. Second goes to Champagne Haze. Malak Al Maluk then came.
Yeah, great success here for Michael Lazzie and his clients Adrian and Rika van Vuren. They've put a lot of money into the game, and they've got this Go Deputy from Lammerskralstad who's very talented.
Yeah, and another South African bred, so it just shows you You've got the big TBA sales coming up at the end of April.
That's right.
You want to be able to go across there and have a look and see if you can buy some of these horses, because this horse, as you said, he was sold at the National Yearling Sales. He only made 400 grand, which was way under average, and shows you can go and buy a horse that might easily end up winning the Triple Crown.
Yeah, it looks a very good horse, and great, as a wonderful excitement from the Adrian van Vuren and his wife Rico put a lot of money into the game, and they're enjoying their racing. They've done out their box, and they have their friends there, and they were really, really taken and captured by the moment. So well done to them, and Michael Lazzie's done a great job. But this horse really won comfortably, James.
Yeah, he certainly looks like the best of the 3-year-olds by a long way. 3-year-old colts, I haven't seen anything that looks like can go with him.
Yeah.
He looked like he might just need time, but to win the Guineas the way he won it, he was the first horse under pressure, but he beat them comfortably. He ended up winning it by 2.5 lengths. And let me tell you, the fourth horse was 4 3/4, so 4 1/4 behind. It just shows the authority with which he won, and the second and third legs of the Triple Crown will be a lot easier for him, I would have thought.
Yeah, yeah. I agree.
Okay, so now we've got some news from all over the world. They're just talking about sales. They had the big sale in Cape Town, and Brett Crawford was one of the biggest buyers. He bought the second highest lot on the sale.
Cape Town?
No,
you said Cape Town, the big sale in Cape Town.
No,
you mean Australia?
Australia, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Did I say Cape Town?
Yeah, you said Cape Town.
Shows you the soccer has killed me.
The soccer's really put you to bed.
Put me in a bad place.
Damn Arsenal.
Bad place.
As a runner.
Can't concentrate, can't sleep, goes break out in sweat. And it's just a terrible, terrible thing.
But you're right. This was actually in Australia, when Brett Crawford and his clients, who's the guy who bought it from?
Craig Roscoe, bought it, and they paid a lot of money for this Fastnet Rock filly.
And it's a beautiful filly, James. I saw the photograph on the site. It's a beautiful filly, so well done, Tim.
And they bought a top filly last year by Schnitzel, was one of the top buyers of the sales. So they're buying very, very nice fillies, these guys. It was sold at the Magic Millions weaning sale, which we attend, for $200,000. So that's 2 million rand.
Yeah.
But they sold it for 460 or 560,000 this year. Yeah, 560,000.
They've got to be thrilled.
Yeah.
James, just talking about Australian racing, the Winx won another Group 1, won the Chipping Norton and said it's certainty to be horse of the year.
She's the horse of the year.
But there was a Group 2 on the day that I must tell you about. My brother knows nothing about horses, and him and his wife took a 5% share in a syndicate to go into a horse. And he told me, the trainer said this horses can run. Can you believe it? It's now a favourite for the Slipper.
It won 3 in a row.
3 in a row. Just won the Group 2 this week. And it's called Scarlet Reigns by Manhattan Rain. And it's 3 for 3. And I've been buying horses all my life. And he ends up taking a tail, less than a bit portion of the tail.
Well, you know what? The one good thing about it is we can go and pull money from your brother in Australia.
We can
flat out. We're going to have dinner and we're going to have lunch and supper, with him. Flat out. Yeah. Fantastic to see. Just quickly on Dubai last week, you were there for the racing. Your horse ran creditable race.
Creditable race. They canted in sprint. We thought, the tearaway would go at the front. He sat down and slowed the ride up. They ran a good race. It was a good evening's racing.
Are you going back with this week? What's the story?
Well, we were looking. Everything hinges on the big night. And the nominations that are done today, and we'll plot it all out and see whether we have to go back through Super Saturday, or if we can go straight in. But we've nominated for the Hong Kong Mile on the right-hand bend as well. It's a free nomination.
And on top of that, Super Saturday this weekend, don't miss it. It's going to be great fun. Look out for Mace the Ace Roberts. He's next.
Michael Mouse Roberts.
This one ridden by Michael Roberts, his 117th winner of the season.
And Michael Roberts still well clear on Lyric Fantasy.
Well, 4 marks to Michael Roberts.
Michael Roberts gets his name on the board in the Ritz Club.
Well, as you can see, this guy's famous. He was one of the greatest jockeys, if not the greatest jockey that ever rode a racehorse in South Africa. He was an ambassador for South African racing. And there were many little things that happened in his career that lots of people don't know about. So hopefully in this 2-part series, we're going to just get to the bottom of a couple of things that were Mace Roberts' legends. But let's kick off with one of the great days in racing here at Greyville when they had the match race between Senor Santa and Northern Princess.
The first match race in over 2 decades. The 2 runners are set. 1,600 metres to travel, and they came out very evenly. Mace Roberts ambling to the front now on Northern Princess, and he's getting away 4 lengths in the early stages. This is interesting as they go through the 14. Mace Roberts now gets away by 6 or 7 lengths. House on Senor Santa not panicking at this stage. As they went through the 13, Northern Princess, she's well clear. I would say it's 6 lengths. Senor Santa, Gavin House still pretty easy in the saddle. As they go through the 11, Northern Princess by 5.5. Senor Santa tightening up. This should be a good one as they go through the 1,000. Northern Princess, Roberts happy to let her bowl along 5 lengths in front of Senor Santa. But remember, this is 1,600 metres, and it's Northern Princess. She's made sure it's a good gallop the whole way. She's still clear by 5. Gavin House, no panic stations yet as Senor Santa closes up a little bit up the hill onto the 600-metre mark. Northern Princess now, Senor Santa tightening up a lot as they come up that hill. Now let's see what Mace Roberts has got left on the filly Northern Princess in the winning form challenge. He goes for home now, but it's only 2 lengths. And Senor Santa's got it well within striking distance. Robert scores for the stick on Northern Princess. Senor Santa's got plenty in him. This is a match race to remember. Senor Santa, Northern Princess. They got 200 to go. Senor Santa, Robert's trying to fight back on Northern Princess. I can't believe it. This is a short end. Robert saying, brilliant fish. Northern Princess, 1.5 length from Senor Santa. Andy Robertson's riding did it. Great ride, and that's the challenge over.
Well, that's got to bring back memories for some of you that were around then. Michael, thank you for joining us, and wonderful having you on Winning Ways. It's been a long time coming.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and good evening to the listeners.
Right, let's go to this race. Did you have the choice of rides?
No, I was, when my agent said to me they're going to have a match race, I said, well, I would like to ride Senor Santa. And he said, no, they want you to ride the filly. And the match is because the filly won the November handicap, and the other horse didn't get in the race because they thought he wouldn't stay a mile. And so it was quite a interesting contest because, there was different things going around, and Durban was buzzing, about this race and the papers and on the radio and everywhere. And I had to, I just didn't know in my mind. I was playing the race through my mind all the time, how I'm going to beat this horse because, he had fantastic speed.
Did you beat him because he didn't stay? Because it looks like going through the 200, he's got you.
Yeah, I think I beat him because, not because he didn't stay. I think Gavin was too much in a hurry to come and tackle me because Senor Santa, used to be at a good turn of speed. And I think he came to me too soon because I had a little bit left in the tank.
Well, you certainly did. You looked like you're under pressure going through the 300-metre mark, and it looked like he was going to beat you.
Yeah, look, I went a good pace. I wanted him, to stretch him and take that speed out of him, But as you can see, he moved up like he had a lot of horse. But I think if he waited behind me to the last 100, I think he would have beaten me.
So if you had ridden Senor Santa, you would have sat on him an extra 100,
Oh yes, I would have been right up his dock until 50 to go.
Yeah, not moved on it.
No, would have moved, no.
And do you think the result would have been different?
I think so.
Spoken like all top jockeys. But let's go and have a look at one of the greatest sprinters you ever did ride, and go and pick up Ted's Ambition winning the Concorde. And we'll talk through these races so that we can, see what actually happened here. Ted's Ambition, he was good.
Very good. You know, he was, this horse must have had an enormous heart because, you know, horses used to come up to him and actually head in and he used to stick his head out. You know, I remember when he beat Cabanture in his second Concord he won. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And what a game little horse. And when you think he was bred in the back garden, Hillcrest.
Yeah, well, here he is winning his second Concord, and it just doesn't look like he doesn't want to give up in the famous Ted Hook colours. But then he went on, won the Chairman's Stakes as well, which was you at your very best, as it says here.
Yes, James, he was so game, but you know, funny enough, you know, he never liked the whipper. You couldn't hit him. You could flick him, but you couldn't hit him. You know, he used to resent it. Actually, this was, you know, the race I was talking about, where this was actually go past me, and you could see this was actually sticking his little head out and come back at the line.
And why we pulled this out was your formative years were with one of the cleverest, shrewdest, and probably best trainers that ever lived. Brian Cherry.
Yes, I mean, you know, we had a very good relationship. You know, I started off with Old Man Brown, then with Mr. Rickaby. I was with Ricky Maingard, rode for the Oppenheimers, and then towards my latter years, you know, Mr. Cherry said to me, "Come on, why don't you come and ride for me?" You know, you know, we've had some good years together. I must say, we had good fun. He was a great trainer. I mean, you know, he knew his horses.
He was a nice chap as well, Brian Cherry.
Yes, very easy going along chap, but you know, smart.
But he liked to punt horses.
Yeah, I mean, those days, I think, you know, people like, you know, Cherry made his living out of, you know, they had the gamble, him and Aubrey Weeks and Mrs. Liley and John Liley and the Meekers were there, and, you know, we had some good owners in the yard as well.
Just going back to the Hooks, they were butchers, weren't they? And they, as you say, bred this horse in their backyard.
Yes, in a small holding in Hillcrest, you know, where Mr. Hook had a couple of mares, and, you know, he was bred there, and he came to us, and, you know, from day one, he was a good little horse. Geez, he was a tiny little horse, but good.
But he was Ted's Ambition. There was Ted's Best as well, wasn't there? They called the horses Ted.
Yeah, everything was Ted, you know, Ted's Ambition, Ted's Best, and there was a couple of others. Ted's Champ, I think there was, you know. Yeah.
Michael, when you were riding them, and you started off with all these very good trainers, did you ever believe you'd get to where you ended up getting?
No. You know, I was lucky enough because, you know, I got involved with Mr. Rickaby. Mr. Rickaby was trying to pinch me away from Mr. Brown when I was still an apprentice all the time, and he actually took me to the Cape the 1 year while I was still in my apprenticeship. And being sort of, you know, from English racing, famous English racing family, cousin to Lester Piggott, you know, I was reading all the books on Piggott and English racing, and Mr. Rick used to speak a lot about English racing to me. So, you know, I knew a bit of the background about English racing, you know, and that's why I, you know, was very interested in English racing. But I mean, not to be ended up English champion jockey one day. That was just a dream. My dream was to win a classic. I mean, I've always been very sort of, you know, looking up to the classics, because in England, as you know, classic jockey, classic owner, classic trainer.
But that came much later, because your dream was actually to win the July, and it took you a very, very long time to win the July. Jeff Lloyd never won a July. You really wanted to win one, and we just showed it earlier.
Yeah, very much so. You know, I tried, I think I had about 13 attempts at it. But you must remember, I went back to England in 1986, so I had a big gap, and I couldn't come over because, unfortunately, on July days, also the Coral Eclipse, Group 1 in England. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to ride in that race virtually every year. And then right at the end, I was supposed to ride North by Northwest. And my agent here said to me, I think you're going to win the July. Come and ride North by. And I made all the arrangements. And after the Daily News on the Sunday, David Ferraris phoned me and said, "Sorry, man, I've got to take you off North by Northwest. My stable jockey wants to ride in Maui because he just won the Daily News on him, you know, and he was the new favourite for the July." So he said, "I've got another horse in the race, which he originally wanted to ride, you know, obviously super quality." And I said, "Well, I've made travel arrangements already. I've spoke to my trainers and everything. They said I can go for the weekend." And always I wanted to come back to see how my farm was getting on here. And so it all came here. And I couldn't believe when I saw this little horse in the ring, so small. And I asked the groom, "Do you fancy it?" He said, "No." He said his money was on the other horse. But I must say, when I turned him around to canter down, I couldn't believe the feel this horse gave me. Geez, he was taking a tug going down. And I said to Garth, I said, "Geez, I tell you what, I don't know what he's got in him, but he feels good, this horse." Yeah. And so that's...
Looked like just watching the race, and you know, those are people who didn't watch the race can go back and run back their PVRs and see it. Looked like Garth gave you a lot of trouble.
Oh yes, I was in trouble. I was in trouble going just before going behind the drill, you know, and they were coming from the outside, and he was only a tiny little horse. I mean, geez, you know, my foot was just over the rail, and Garth was trying to hold him off, but you know, and I had a few, you know, quite a few nasty bumps, you know. I was a bit, you know, in trouble, you know. But then, you know, once we came sort of out the drill, you know, they sort of, you know, got a bit more space for him. And the only thing David said to me, he said to me, look, he gave me no orders. He said, just try not to go through horses with him if you can. You know, bring him on the outside if you can. And I got a lovely split just coming up the hill. I gave him a breather, obviously, coming up the hill. And as we got to the rise, you know, I looked to my left, and there was a nice split, and I managed to maneuver him out. Yeah. And when I let him go, geez, he was instantly. I mean, he actually surprised me how, you know, quickly he accelerated. You know, and you see so many. The result of the July always changes the last 100 meters, and I thought, oh God, can you imagine something came with the pack and beat me now? You know.
But mate, just talking about jockeyship, okay? Because you've now sat in the saddle for most of your life, and you've ridden against the best in the world. What is the difference? People out there always say, oh, there's a good jockey and there's a bad jockey. What is the difference? Is it the thinking, the thought process that you have during the race, the awareness of what's going on around you? What sets you guys apart from the ordinary guys?
Oh, most definitely. You've got to think in a race, and you've got to work the race out before you go into a race. It doesn't matter how big or small a race is. You know, you've got to know the opposition, you know, and the horses to follow, you know. You can, and the jockeys is riding them, and you know what their weak points are too in a race, you know. And I mean, I could go in a race and tell you exactly how I've worked the race and how the race is going to be run, and which one I'm going to follow and which one I'm not going to follow, you know. And I mean, you know, it's no good following a 100-to-1 shot into the, you know, into Gravel Straight, yeah, coming back on you. I mean, you know, but I mean, you know, today, I think racing today is, you know, the jocks are riding much looser than what we used to. I mean, you know, when we were riding with a lot of senior jockeys around, and you had to be careful because they would put you in a pocket if they could.
Yeah, and that was part of race riding.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, you're out there as an individual. You don't, you know, it's not teamwork out there.
Did you put a lot of people in a pocket?
Yes, my job was to do the best for my owners, and you know, I don't know. I used to go out there. You know, I'll win at all costs. I was not scared.
When you were growing up, was that part of your whole psyche? Whatever you did when you were a kid and a child, was it a win at all costs? Because that seems to be prevalent in people that end up champions. Well,
you know, I don't know. You know, I just got to, you know, I want to win. I mean, you know, I'm not going out there just for a ride or be a number, you know, and every horse, doesn't matter what, you know, I don't mind if the horse is 100-to-1 or odds on, you know. I want to do the best for the people that's employed me to ride a horse for them, you know. But in life too, you know, I don't like getting beat.
Very competitive. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with Mace in the next segment. Right, well, one of the best horses that you ever rode in this country was Spanish Pool, and he was a pretty good horse.
Yes, no, he was a good horse. He came over from England. I did a lot of work on the horse, and when the horse was due to run at Scottsville, Mr. Payne jocked me off, and he put on Mr. Sham. Yeah. And I got onto the blower very quickly to the UK. And I phoned up a couple of jocks there. Joe Mercer used to ride the horse. And I phoned Joe, and I told him what happened to me, and he said to me, who's riding the horse? And I said, well, what sort of jockey is riding the horse? And I said to him, no, he'll have the horse handy and he'll go early. He said, he's loose. You can beat him. He said, that horse, remember, he's only got a 300-meter running on him, you know, max, a furlong and a half. And I was so upset because we took the horse to Maritzburg, we galloped him unbeatable, I promise you. Yeah. And to cut the long story short, I went through the weights with my agent, and I couldn't find a horse that could beat this horse. But there was one filly in the race, that a 3-year-old filly called Grey Sun, Ralph Rickson. Yeah. And Royce Ferry was stable jock for him, so I phoned Mr. Rickson up myself. I said, please, Mr. Rickson, let me ride Grey Sun. He said, but aren't you running special? No, I got jocked off. And I got on to her, and I said, listen, I don't want the money. You can keep, I'll give your jockey the money for the ride. And I just followed him through and I got him on the line. And
that's how competitive you were.
Well, it was justice.
Well, let's go and have a look at Spanish Pool winning earlier on when he won the Schweppes, and we can pick him up here. This was a good win.
Yes, he had unbelievable acceleration, as you can see. Behind him is Wolf Power and a few others, but like I say, only a 300-meter run. You had to wait on him. You had to suffer on him, and follow horses through.
Well, here he is in the Champion Stakes in Johannesburg, so he won everywhere. He won left-handed tracks, right-handed tracks.
No, also a very courageous win. Only tiny little horse, but I mean he's. And he loved the firm ground. That that was his big asset too. He liked to hear his feet rattle.
Well, here's the Sun International, which is the biggest race in Joburg. It's now called the Summer Cup, or they're called the Champions Cup, and he won this well too.
Yeah, well, when we got back to the winners' enclosure, I got a bollocking from Mr. Payne.
Yeah.
He accused me of going too soon with him. So very interesting. And well, every horse I was tracking, they're falling away, and I had nowhere to hide him anymore. And eventually, I had to press the button, and he just hung on though. I mean,
but you press the button at the right time. Here he comes, storming through on the outside to the front, and you had to go.
Well, exactly. There was no more lead horses to follow. I would have been taking back on him.
Is it, as a jockey, did you find it hard to get to Joburg and win these races with horses that were trained in Durham? Look, he actually ended up winning with 3/4 length. Did the altitude have an effect on that?
James, it's amazing how things have changed. No, I mean, the horses used to travel up there. I remember we used to, arrive there on a Thursday and they used to run on a Saturday, and Friday morning we actually had to go up and, give them a little canter, on the inside of that, or even down the grass track, down to the bottom of the straight and come back.
Yeah.
And nothing. The only time we had problems is obviously it was a thunderstorm and races were postponed. And then horses, they used to, most cases they used to scratch or bring them home,
Yeah.
But no, I mean, geez, but saying that, I think we probably had the best horses in Durban those days. I mean, Mr. Laird, but David, Mr. Brown and Cherry, there were some and Ricky, we had some very good horses in this province.
Talking about Brown and the Brown team, one of the best horses you ever rode from them had to be Turncoat.
Yes, he was a funny little horse.
Crooked
legs, boxy feet, and I got on him by chance too, because they had. I wanted this horse for Mrs. Hemming, and then they bought it. Sangster bought it from from Scott Hammer, and. Mr. Brown had 2 horses in the Cape Guineas, and Chris Smith phoned me up and said, listen here, we would like you to ride Turncoat. So I said, well, I only ride him on one condition, that I can ride him in his prep races, because Basil Marcus was stable jockey and he wanted to ride him. So I said, no, I won't ride him. If I can't ride him in his prep race, I'll take the ride now. And then I won the A division on him at Milnerton over 14 in a hack canter, I promise you, hard held half a length. And then, of course, we won the Guineas.
And he won the Guineas pretty well. Let's go and pick that up. We've got the Guineas, the Richelieu Guineas as it was in those days. And this was a good field.
Yes, I mean, top class horses. But, a game little horse, I mean, really had a, also Picard, I won the main stand as well, the old Clarewood.
Yeah, we'll watch that after we watch this. But this horse gets away in front. And he's the black horse just off the inside, isn't he? And just cruises up to them when you ask him to go.
Oh, no, he was a smart little horse,
And the bad leg, the crooked leg, never had any...
Never stopped him. He was never unsound. He, went through and...
Who's that, Bodrum going with him?
That's Bodrum on the inside, the grey, yes.
Yeah.
We actually come on the outside. That's Mr. Brown's other horse, Expertise. Marcus on that, yes. Basil was riding that. And that's Bodrum coming through there. And you were in the outside, in the Sangster colours.
And... talking about Sangster, did you get to ride a lot of horses in England?
No, not really. He was, most of his horses were trained in Ireland, by Vincent O'Brien, when I was there. And then they moved to, to Manton with
what's his name?
The guy, Dickinson.
Dickinson.
Michael Dickinson,
yes. Chapelheim, I think.
Chapelheim had them, towards the end, yes.
Yeah, here you bump Bodrum again.
Oh, yes, yeah.
This was a good race.
Yeah, and then after this, I got the job with Mr. Oppenheimer, Mr. and Mrs. Oppenheimer, to ride for them. Mr. Maingott wasn't very happy with Jeff's ride.
Did he do anything wrong?
No, I think.
You ended up winning it comfortably. It looked
Yeah,
like
my
Bodrum
was-
was running in.
yeah.
Jeff never could run straight, but if if you couldn't look straight, could you run straight? Was it always a problem with him?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him.
Did you see it as a weakness in his riding
No,
style?
not a weakness. No, you had to be careful of Jeff in a race.
He was a good rider, Jeff.
Very good, excellent,
Yeah.
top and a top chap too. You know.
Were you mates with him?
Yes, very much.
And you still keep in touch?
Now and then, but not not often. No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no,
He was a good guy, Jeff.
Yeah, good guy, good jockey, and good fun to go out with.
And a very, very good rider.
Very good, top class. You know, I believe that he came to the UK and he was riding for Richard Hannon a bit, and I think he could have made it big time there, but I don't think he enjoyed the travelling.
You did not enjoy the travelling either.
I didn't mind it. It was, it's,
You're
I knew where I was going. I don't mind hard work.
Yeah, because the point is that to go to the UK and become champion jockey in the UK is a monumentous hurdle to achieve. And obviously we're going to talk about it in part 2 of the series. But what fascinates me, and I've watched what happened with you, was that you couldn't have had any friends in the jockey room.
Oh no, there's no friends.
Yeah.
You just got to work at them, and all the little remarks, and and races, they would wait for me and run off the fence, and because I used to love going up to the inside, and they used to wait for me. But then I worked out which ones I could sort of get by, and what jockeys I've got to be careful of.
Who were the difficult ones?
Pat Edry was very competitive.
Yeah.
Really, we became good mates at the end, really. But he was very competitive. Fallon was, you had to watch him a bit.
Yeah.
In a race, and Swinburne also, you had to watch him. But the southern jockeys are much easier than the northern guys. Going up north was a headache. When we used to take horses from the south to the north. Because you're like an invader if you go up there, from another planet.
Who were the Peter Easterby and Mickey Easterby?
Well, there was Birch, Mickey Birch, yes, yeah. More the jocks, because like I would travel up there. I wouldn't mind going up there, and before, they would have a northern jockey riding for the stables from the south. And then, of course, I didn't mind going up there on a Monday or Tuesday to Edinburgh or Carlisle or something.
Just talking about that, people don't realise how long a trip it is to get in your motor car and go up there. Get up on the M4 and go ahead, Hamilton, Lanark, places like that.
Beverly.
Yeah, they go tracks.
Well, Red Car used to take me 3 hours and go there for one ride.
Yeah.
3 hours then, 3 hours back.
I think you used to go to Red Car, and then you used to come back and ride an evening meeting at
Newmarket or Leicester or to one of the London tracks. Exactly, yes. Yeah. And no, I know you do a lot of travelling in the UK, but at the end of the day, you got to do it to get into the stables. Once you're in with the yard, then you could take your foot off the accelerator. It's all about hard work and loyalty. That's, the English, really, you've got to be loyal. They like loyalty and commitment. I used to ride work in Newmarket. I used to be the first one on the track and the last one to leave. I used to get home and I just had a quick shower, and I used to run and say to Werner, just make me a cup of tea, please, and a slice of toast. I'll go racing, like.
How was the weight?
Half an hour. No, my weight was very good. I was lucky.
So that's the lucky part. There's nothing worse than going home for an hour in a sweat box when you've got to go to a race meeting or putting on sweat clothes. Did you ever travel those boys that had the air conditioner on?
Oh yes, I've been in the car once or twice dying myself.
Who was that with?
That would have been with Swinburne.
And just talking about jockeys from all over the world, there was that American jockey that rode there in your time.
Steve Cawthon.
Steve Cawthon, yeah.
Champion.
How was he?
Unbelievable.
Nice guy?
Very nice. We became very... I used to take him on in races because I could see this man was making us look a fool. He used to go to front for Henry Sessler on horses, and I used to go take him on. And one day he offered me a lift back, and he said to me, why you keep taking me on? I said, because you make us look stupid, And I used to ride a lot of outsiders. So I used to go take him on, and once or twice, I actually won those races because, we always just kept rolling. And so he said, listen here, if you want to go to front, just tell me.
Yeah.
And we became good friends after that, and I stopped taking him on, and I said, listen, I want to make the running, and he said, allow me to make the running, But he was a very, 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 very good jockey. Up here, unbelievable in front.
Well, that's what makes those American jockeys. They're born with the clock in their head. They have to, all their work that they ride with the clock. Is that an advantage for them?
Very much so. In any race, if you know what pace you're going, I mean, and you're going the right pace. If the pace is slow and you can move around, I mean, I've seen Piggott sit last on a horse, and all of a sudden, there he goes. He backs up in the air, and he moves right down to the front and go park in front. And I actually asked him once or twice when he came to South Africa. I seen him ride like this, and he used to say to me, he said, "What's the difference? I'll sit in front, I'll sit at the back. I mean, now they've got to follow me, you know what I mean?"
Did you understand what he was saying?
Well, he mumbled.
He was, I thought he was the greatest jockey I ever saw.
Well, I would say still today. I haven't seen a rider with his, you could change the whole race around so quickly with the movements he used to make in a race. He was just unbelievable, and he used to... He's let horses work in a race for him from moving from back to the front without the horse knowing it. And I mean, he was a genius with his...
He had beautiful hands.
Yes, and he could relax horses. So, horses never used to pull with a man, I mean, even our horses in South Africa used to come here, And, when he used to hit them, he could pick a horse up properly.
So you would say he was the best jockey?
Nah, the best jockey, I must say, by far, really. I mean, he was a genius to watch, and... just the way he used to, he was like poetry in motion on horse's back, really, in my eyes, Steve is good. Pat, look, there's been some great jockeys,
Just before we wrap on this first part of the show, Frankie Dettori, he was like the apprentice doing his apprenticeship in that time. He used to catch a lift with you to some race meetings. How was
yes,
he?
quite often, he could hardly talk English, sat in the back of the car between my two girls, and we used to fill up the car, and then he used to come out with a bag of chocolates and sweets and munch them all the way to the races, He was
Did
quite
you
a
offer them to your daughters?
Oh yes,
he's actually a very generous
very
guy,
generous chap.
Yeah.
And we became quite good friends to Frankie, with Frankie, he's a bit of a showman, but also good rider. Look, I mean, I wouldn't say he's a Piggott.
Yeah.
But I mean, good rider, stylish rider, if you want to call it,
Yeah. But you taught him to speak English. That's why he speaks so well.
Very well.
And your daughters taught him everything.
Yeah, everything.
I'd be a bit worried about him sitting between your two daughters in the back
he was a little, unbelievable. I mean, how, it's amazing, I can remember when I was a kid, and, like you say, obviously I never had a driver's license, and the office used to phone us up and say, "Please, can you give Frankie a lift to Beverly or wherever we're going?" And yes, little kid became so famous.
Michael, we're going to move on. Next week we will be back, or the week after that, we'll be back with part 2. So that should be fun. Thank you so much for this most entertaining ride we've had so far. Michael Roberts, we'll be back with him in the near future. You have a great week's racing.
It's a very good race, Laura. I thought Mujareb had a chance of doing it again. Forey's Waltz moves in. He's taken over as international favourite in front of Ertagel. He's been well supported, and he is also picked 6 favourite. Forey's Waltz but pounced on the outside, went to his stable companion. Ertagel battles back, but the South Africans are 1, 2 and 4 in the end. The real Forey's Waltz has stood up this season. Banadia leads. Anna Arobio is coming at him. The post is looming up. Anna Arobio lunged, and I think in the last gasp has won. Mike's a magician in successive races. It's at a cock 1, 2, probably 1, 2,